Hello everyone, welcome to Target IAS. This is Rakesh and welcome to the series of Demystifying Economy. Today we are going to talk about capital market. So what is a market? A market is a place where buying and selling takes place. It's as simple. But what is the need of capital market? Capital market plays an important role in the economy. What is the capital market role? So it facilitates buying and selling. What does it facilitate? You trade on securities, you trade on derivatives. Oh my God, I introduced two important words here. Today we are going to talk about different instruments and different terminologies in the capital market. Capital market is important to create the capital, and that is important for an economic growth of a country. In underdeveloped countries like Africa, Europe, eastern part of the Europe, and India, Ethiopia, or as such. So in these countries, capital is a scarce. So there is a scarcity of capital. So capital market which facilitates the money which moves from surplus entity towards the deficit entity. But how does this transfer of movement from surplus to the deficit will happen? So this is where the government will come into the picture, because remember, trust is an important factor in moving money from one entity to the other. So what is the role of government? How can government facilitate this trade? So first let us understand the capital market and its instrument with the following section. So our point of discussion is to understand the trend of capital market, what is the stories of capital market, how trend of capital market has fluctuated over a period of time. So we understand with some case studies what is the structure of capital market, what is called primary market and what is called secondary market. And we also understand the key important terminologies which are important for UPSC. Economics is important for UPSC in understanding the terminologies which are mentioned in the economic subject. So that is where we are going to focus on the second part of the discussion. Moving on, what are the key words that we are going to focus upon? What is public issue? What are new issue market, old issue market? What are derivatives? And what is stock exchange? This is what we are going to discuss today in the class. Capital market in underdeveloped countries will facilitate the trade because those are the countries which are of scale, and capital formation is important for an economy to run. That's where you will see this NDA government is completely emphasizing upon grabbing the investment from the foreign markets. So that is what the importance of capital market. So summarizing the points, need is to move money from the surplus entity towards the deficit entity. And second one, building the trust from the government side. And building the trust is a role of the government, and the government will do with the intervention of establishing certain institutions. So how can a government transfer the money or convert the money from saving to the investment? So this can be done only with the trust. Trust is an important factor in an economy. That is what our government is also trying to emphasize upon. So let me give you a hypothetical example. For example, you are interested in funding some political party. Why do you do that? Because the political party through its policies has gained the trust in the public. So when the trust is gained by the government, the public will fund the government. Okay, you do the campaign, I will fund. So this is the importance of moving money from one entity to the other, and capital market is for the capital creation. Capital creation is important for an economy to grow. So these are the points that we are going to discuss on deep. So we are going to understand the history of capital market in the world scenario as well as India scenario. What are the trends in the capital market? Europeans were the first, and Europeans were the elite communities who indulged in the trading because of the European colonies that ruled the world, and Dutch were the first capital market facilitator. Their East India Company, Dutch East India Company, were the first to raise the funds from the Dutch people, and they invested in the colonies to buy the commodities. After a certain period of time, there is a war that happened. Remember one thing, there is always political influence on the economy. So when the political scenario of the Europeans has been changed over a period of time, the French attacked the Dutch. In the meantime, this led to the development of London Stock Exchange. And East India Company is the one country, East India Company is one corporation which colonized India in the form of trading. So this is where we are going to understand. So Dutch East India Company, and there is a French and Dutch war happened. We know that political influence can be seen on the economy. So this led to the rise of London Stock Exchange, and East India Company from Britain is one of the corporation which entered India and looted India. But who am I to say all this? This is something which is mentioned by the great personality, that is Dadabhai Naoroji in Drain of Wealth. That is what we are going to discuss today. And this is, let's trade for our family. This is the British slogan. Let's trade for our families. And Bombay and Kolkata were the two important trading centers of India. They used to trade cotton. They used to trade cotton and other commodities, which is again important for UPSC. What are the commodities and what are the trading commodities which are traded by British from India? So British raised the money from the London Stock Exchange, the people who are engaged in the London market. So with that money, they came to India and bought the commodities, which is again sold in the platform of Britain. So this is something which is mentioned by Dadabhai Naoroji in the Drain of Wealth. And then moving on to, we understood the government role in the historical perspective. Let us try to understand the role of the Indian government. We have been looted by the Britishers, by the capitalists, and then we suddenly got the independence in 1947. This is where our premium leaders has focused upon emphasizing on the capital market establishment, and that can be reflected, that you can observe the reflection of their emphasis on first and second 5-year plans. So first and second 5-year plans are crucial for the capital market establishment, because in the first and second 5-year plan, the government has clearly emphasized upon agriculture and industry. But how can they do that without the capital? That is where the capital market again into the picture. So capital market formation is important for any industry to develop, and first and second 5-year plans are focused upon agriculture and the industry. So capital has been raised from the public of Indian people. So that is about the capital formation. And when the things are going very formally, there is a decade of stories of 60s. In 1960s, the decade of war and drought has influenced the capital market, and this is where you can see the bearish trends. So there is a fall of capital market trend. People lost the interest on the government. As we already discussed, trust is an important factor for the capital formation. Why do I invest in a company, or why do I invest on a government? When they give a trust, when their policies are efficient, then only I will think upon the investment. But in 1960s, our economy, our investments is mostly upon the revival and on the war. So people lost the trust and there is a bearish trend. So war is something which disincentivizes, the war is something which discourages the investment. That's why it is better to avoid the wars. And moving on to one of the real example is administration of United States of America. When the United States of America are engaged in a war of Middle East, in Afghanistan something, that in Afghanistan, then generally the capital market or the stock exchanges will go on a bearish trend, the fall of stock markets. So war is an important factor that can be observed in the news articles as well. You can see when there is a declaration of war or when there is a tussle between any of the neighboring countries, you can see there is a fall of stock market. So war is something which discourages this trend of stock market. That is observed from the experience of 1960s. And in 1970s, the story has again shifted into a different platform. The trend of 1970s is again a bearish trend because of the inefficient economic policies like restriction of dividend payment. So what does the restriction of dividend payment? Government has come up with a policy called you have to restrict your dividend payment. Dividend is a distribution of profits by a corporation or by a company to the stakeholders. So that is being distributed based on the proportion of investment. Let us assume that you have a cake, you invested, the portion of profit is given based on the proportion of investment. So that is a dividend. And the second trend of 1970s is, one is dividend restriction of dividend payments, and the second one is multinational companies has diluted their investment in the Indian venture because we are going on a formula of protecting the domestic companies, protecting the domestic business entities. Why do we do that? What is the reason of continuing the same economic formula? Because our economy is not opened up. Our economy has not been integrated with the global economies. And that is being observed in the 1991 LPG reforms. So MNCs has rather preferred going out of India. And that is again, the capital formation has been reduced in 1970s and as well as in 1960s. This led to a disaster in economic performance. So henceforth our government has again borrowed from the world premier institutions like World Bank and IMF, and that led to the LPG reform. We are not going to discuss on that. But so the trends of summarizing the points, the trends in 1960s and 1970s were the bearish trend. One is about the war and drought, and the 1970s on the inefficient economic policies. So with the eye-opening of 1990 stories is the spoiled dish has been improved with certain measures, that is LPG, liberation, privatization and globalization. We opened up the economy. We start raising funds from the other markets. In the meantime, let us understand the other component of capital market, that is speculation, which is being mentioned in your NCERT. That is important. NCERT is the Bible for UPSC preparation. So speculation, let us understand the impact of speculation. What is the impact of speculation on the economy as well as capital market? So speculation, this can be understood with Great Depression, 1928. So the Great Depression, I'm not going into the details, but the Great Depression has started with the speculation. And the reflection of economy, you can see the political reflection of economy. So when the opposition of United States of America has questioned the inefficient economic policies of that then government, and then people lost the trust on the government of United States of America, and then this led to the reduced consumption as well as investment. In the other words, people felt holding money is much more prosperous than going for an investment. This led to the stock exchange crash in the United States of America. Since we are integrated in the terms of globalization, the effect can be seen in the other parts of the world as well. So this is something which is called Keynesian analysis. The Keynesian analysis talked about the global destruction is the cause. The root cause is reduction of consumption and investment, that is due to the speculation, which is a story created by the opposition, which means in simple terms there is a political reflection on the economy. That is what we are going to understand here. So speculation plays a crucial role. Either the trend is going on a bearish or on the improvement, bull and bear. So I introduced two terms called bull and bear trends. So bull is something when there is a rise of stock exchange, and bear is something where is a fall of stock exchange. So bull and bearish trends. Moving on to other important factor is what is the structure of capital market. So if a corporation or the government wanted to raise money, so they raise money by issuing shares. Who is the issuer? These are the issuers. It could be corporate or the government. So the investment bank is an intermediary. An investment bank will again raise funds from the public. So you are aware of the fact that risk is involved in it, because why do we invest on a government? Why do we invest on the government, or why do we invest on a company? That is based upon the balance sheet, if you go on a technical term, or the trust gained by these institutions. So investment bank will share the risk from the entities, and then corporations will generally issue shares to the investment bank, and investment bank will take the role of lead underwriting. So what is called lead underwriting? It is nothing but it is kind of an insurance. For example, investment bank will issue the shares to the public. If the public haven't subscribed to the shares, so these investment bank will take over. So these investment bank will assure that we are going to sell the stock in the public. So government has two options. One is it can either directly sell to the public, but in this section risk is involved, but it can go through the investment bank. And lead underwriter is someone who underwrites the value of the underlying asset. If not subscribed by the public, it will try to take other institutional support, like major institutions. It could be banks or insurance or mutual funds. So it will take the support of this, and risk will be again transferred to them. So understanding the structure of capital market is simple. If buying and selling as a trade happens, then it can be happen only in the secondary market. If the issue of shares primarily to the investment bank, then it is called primary market. Primary means the first go. So they issue shares to the institutions like investment banks, other financial institutions, and these investment banks will share the risk from the company or the corporate. Again, they will sell this to the public, where trading happens. If trade happens, that happens on the secondary market. So let me give you a brief. So this is primary market, and when trade happens, this is called secondary market. So let me tell you, buying and selling within the public happens in secondary market, whereas institution as well as the issuer, it happens in the primary market. So there is an alternative of issuing directly from the issuer to the public, but the risk is involved. Who would like to take the risk? Calculated risk is very much important in the capital market. That is why these institutions has brought has bringing these institutions in between the process. So this is the structure of capital market. By understanding the need, by understanding the government role, and by understanding the speculation factor in the capital market, we are going to discuss something about key words in this and which are important for preliminary. Preliminary questions of economics are very simple because they focus more upon the economics, but the trend of UPSC is slightly applying the application part of the terminologies that we are going to look upon that. So we are going to talk about stock exchange, over the counter, stock broker, sub broker, forward trading, Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange. These are the keywords and other current affairs and case studies as well. So moving on to the keywords. What is stock exchange? By the word itself, we know there is an exchange of stock between two entities. So that is nothing but a stock exchange. It is an exchange of stock between the two entities. It would be worthwhile if I give you a demonstration on that. The secondary market has been classified into stock market and over the counter. So generally over the counter is the initial platform where if anyone wanted to raise money, they generally go on a over the counter formula. So it is as simple as that. In the villages or in the rural system or indeed in the unorganized urban system, if we want immediate money for the long term, we generally go for asking a friend or a family. So that is nothing but over the counter. But in secondary market, where trade is also an important component, where trade should happen on the instruments. So secondary market is about divided into stock and over the counter. We are going to deal with the details. So stock derivatives are, what is a derivative? Derivative is a contract between a buyer and a seller. It is a contract. So why do they go on a contract? So they say that I am going to buy the product on the future date with a predetermined price. Let me simplify this. We deal on this price on a future delivery of products. So that is called forward trading. Let's make the deal now. So he is a buyer and a seller. So the deal is on December 10th. It's a case. So the delivery was on December 20. So if the deal and delivery, the delivery is on the future date and the deal is on the present, the deal is about on the current prices. We are going to agree on the current prices, but the delivery is on the future date. So that is about the forward trading. It's as simple as that. And the other details of forward trading are future and options. So what is a future? Buyer and seller are generally agreed upon on the delivery of certain commodities on a future date on a predetermined prices, which means they are deciding on the current prices. If the delivery happens according to the contract, that is called proper execution of an agreement. That is, in other words, it is future. So the trade happened perfectly. And the other detail is options. So you have an option of withdrawing from the agreement. So that is if a buyer and a seller, if seller takes the call of cancellation of the agreement, then it is called put option. In the other way, if the buyer takes the option of cancellation, it is called call option. So again, on the brief is, forward is an derivative, is an agreement between the buyer and seller who wanted to deliver the commodities on a future date by agreeing on the price of predetermined price, by agreeing on the price of current prices. And if the execution of agreement happens, that is called future derivative. If it is not happening, then it is option. If the decision of cancellation has been taken by the seller, then it is called put option. If it is taken by the buyer, it is called call option. So he is calling to withdraw from the agreement. So again, this is important as a statement. So what is the purpose of derivatives? Why do anyone wanted to go on a contract? That is something they wanted to hedge upon the risk. Because we already knew the stock exchange, the trends of stock exchange has a greater influence by the speculation. A speculation from the public. There is a lot of noise in the market. So speculation can be hedged. Speculation will create the risk. So that can be hedged by the derivatives, by going on a contract. So that's why they go on a derivative model. Derivatives are used to hedge a position, to fix, because they are fixing on the current prices. They never mind whether there is a rise of price of the commodity or the rise of fall or the rise of the price of the commodity. They fix the price, so they are risk free in one engagement. So it can reduce the impact of risk of speculation. So that's why derivatives are used, and derivatives are available in the over the counter market. So secondary market, as we had seen, it is being divided in over the counter and stock exchange. Over the counter derivatives are generally traded. So derivatives is nothing but a contract between the buyer and the seller. So again, moving on to the details of the first entity, that is stock exchange. There are so many number of stock exchanges. Among them, National and Bombay Stock Exchange are the significant one, since they are backed up by the large scale corporations who have the high track records and large scale stock brokers. So before going into the detail, let me tell you who is a stock broker. See, stock broker generally engage with the investors, and he is the one who invests in the securities. To make this happen, he will take a brokerage. He will take a brokerage. So stock broker has a connectivity with the investors, and stockbroker who will take the decision to decide upon the securities. Okay, I will invest on this. Whether to invest on the government, whether to invest on the different corporation will be taken by the stockbrokers. And the work is transferred or delivered to the another section, that is called sub-broker. The role is similar, but the work has been just delegated. So this is about the stockbroker and the sub-broker. Why I am discussing about these brokers now? Because Bombay Stock Exchange, he is being founded by gigantic stockbrokers. If you go to the Mumbai, you will see the richest community in the Dalal Street are the stockbrokers. So moving on to understand National Stock Exchange first and then Bombay Stock Exchange. We are going to go on a national sector. National Stock Exchange is being recommended by Pehwani Committee. And it is recognized as a stock exchange in 1993 under the Securities Contract Regulation Act of 1956. So this act has been came into the picture when the capital market is running on the Badla trading. So what is called Badla trading? It is as simple as you are investing by borrowing. You invest on the securities by borrowing from other entities. So that is Badla trading. In order to restrict this equation, Securities Contract and Regulation Act came into the picture, which restricted Badla trading, and then other irregularity patterns of the capital market, and they came up by recognizing certain institutions are the like National Stock Exchange, where they increase the trust among the people. So this is about the National Stock Exchange on brief. Moving on to the Bombay Stock Exchange. So it is established in 1875. UPSC never asks the question on years, but however, you should remember Bombay Stock Exchange is earlier than National Stock Exchange. And National new. Bombay Stock Exchange is old in 1875. And it is the Asian largest stock exchange, and it is formed by stockbrokers. But who formed by National Stock Exchange? The founding member is IDBI, Development Institutional Financial Institution, IDBI. You might be aware IDBI Bank when there is a case of Vijay Mallya, who funded the Vijay Mallya. So IDBI who funds on the long-term developmental projects. We are going to discuss that in later slides. So National Stock Exchange is being founded by IDBI and other institutions as well. In Bombay Stock Exchange is formed by the stockbrokers. You can see that in the picture. Moving on to how can we measure the performance of listed companies? Listed companies are listed in the stock exchange, and there is a criteria to list on the stock exchange. So that is being regulated by SEBI. So don't you think listing of the companies, evaluating the performance of listing of the companies, don't you think is an impossible task? Yes, it is so. That's why these institutions had clubbed up to high blue chip companies who have a high track record, and they mark on their performance and they'll take an average out of it. So that's why we are going to come up with the terminologies called Sensex and Nifty. So what is the closing date of Sensex? So what is the closing value? It's this value. This is not important for UPSC, but sensitivity index is an index of Bombay Stock Exchange. Index means listing. So the listed companies who are of high performance, their high performance will be averaged and delivered on the stock exchange. Based on this average, the investor will going to decide whether to invest on a particular industry or not. So let me just divide you. A company, Air India is a company or a corporation, whereas airline is an industry. So they will take the companies from the different industries and they will give you an average. So based on the average, the investor will decide whether to invest on the industry. So this is about the Bombay Stock Exchange. You can observe the companies of film industries as well. So based upon the film industry's production, they will decide on whether to invest on an industry like film or not, or airline or not. So that is about the sensitivity index, which is of Bombay Stock Exchange. Index is listing of companies. And moving on to the Nifty. Nifty, the 50 top rated companies, average performance. The performance is averaged and they will give you an index. So based upon this, again, the investors will invest. So you can see the graph and this is the closing. So these numbers are not important, but you have to remember this National 50 as well as sensitivity index. And then moving on to, as we already discussed, index is used to measure the rise and fall of price of the commodities. And familiar one is Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange. Bombay Stock Exchange is Sensex and National Stock Exchange is Nifty 50. And there are other index as well. We are going to deal when we are going to deal on a current affair. Moving on to the mechanism. What is the process? What is the process? What is the mechanism? Initially, it was a paper format, material format. When you buy the securities, they used to transfer the material which means they are assuring you, like a slip which you receive while doing ATM transactions. So they will give you an invoice. So that is the material. And due to the advent of technology, due to the technological development, most of the trading initially happened on a telephone. And with the growing of technology, the mechanism, the format has been changed into the electronical, and that is being dematerialized, and it is being deposited on demat account. Material to dematerial, paper format to electronical format. So this is the new mechanism. And what is called rolling settlement. You trade, it's a T+2, trading plus 2 days. You trade on this day, and the settlement will be deposited on your demat account after 2 days, after closing of 2 days. So there is something called intra-trade variations. You buy, if you buy and sell the securities on the same day, so you are making investment as well as you are getting the profit or loss on the same day. So securities, you place the securities as well as you sold the securities, intra-trade. Whereas you place the securities which are not left for trade, but you are keeping with you. Place the securities, but you are keeping with you. Then that securities reflection can be seen after 2 days. So it will take T+2 days. And there is some recommendation where they wanted to fasten the process to make into T+1. So this is about the rolling settlement. So rolling settlements is after buying, how much time will it take to see the invoice or the dematerialized securities in your demat account. So that is about the rolling securities. Moving on to the role of depositories. Deposit. Generally, why do you deposit in a bank? Because there is a risk involved carrying cash. That's why we use ATMs, we use cards. So in a similar way, there is a risk involved by carrying physical assets. That asset here is securities. There could be a theft. What happens if there is a disaster? So that's why there is a risk involved. So that's why this risk, in order to reduce the risk of holding the physical asset, there is something called deposit where they maintain your securities. They maintain your securities. So there are some of these depository organizations. The Depository Act of 1996 has established 2 depositories in India, namely National Security Deposit Limited (NSDL), which is of National Stock Exchange, as well as IDBI and UTI, First Mutual Fund. So these are the institutions who established the Depository Limited. And what is the role of depositories? Maintaining your depositories. Why we have to do? Why they are maintaining? Because they wanted to reduce the risk of holding the securities. There is a risk of frauds, there is a risk of theft or the disaster. You can understand that with other examples. There is something called DigiLocker, where you can place your identity cards, your certificates in a digital format. It is similar to that. So, and there is one more depository, that is Central Depository Service Limited. Central Depository Service Limited, that is being promoted by Bombay Stock Exchange, SBI and Bank of India. So the important for preliminary is NSDL is associated with these institutions, NSE, IDBI, UTI. Central Depository Service Limited is associated with Bombay Stock Exchange, SEBI. So this is again important. So you can easily remember, N means new, new means National Stock Exchange. Who regulate depositories and depository participant? This is regulated by SEBI. and these depository participant is also answerable to the SEBI. So NSDL has to be registered with the SEBI because they are falls under the regulation of SEBI. Moving on, by understanding this, apparently now we are clear with the terminologies. We are going to deal with the other instruments as well. Development financial institutions, which is also comes under your capital market, where they provide long-term loan to the projects. Long-term loans to the projects. A long term could be 25 years or much more than that. So IDBI and Industrial Financial Corporation of India are the examples. So it would be worthwhile if I give you a case study. Vijay Mallya has borrowed lot of money, although he tampered the process of loan, and the loan he raised from IDBI in order to invest on the Kingfisher Airlines, because their investment, their capital formation should be of more. It should be of more as well as for the long term. So IDBI or Industrial Finance Corporation institution will provide long-term loans to the infrastructural projects and other projects of long term. Moving on to the other important instruments which are in the news. So hence it is important for UPSC. So we're going to discuss on that. Inflation index bond. Inflation, sustainable rise in price level. In order to understand this bond, the prerequisite is we have to understand what is the real and nominal interest rate. Real interest rate will give you a real picture. So nominal interest rate minus inflation will give you a real picture. Let me explain you on that. If the prices are increased, not just because of the factors of production or not just because of the productivity, but the prices are increased due to the inflation, due to the mismatch between the demand and supply. So if you reduce the mismatch between demand and supply, you will get the real interest rate. You will get the real picture of an economy. There is something called real GDP and nominal GDP. Real GDP will give you a real picture because they will adjust the inflation. They will reduce the inflation from the nominal. So nominal is associated with current prices, whereas real is associated with comparative prices. They will compare by just deducting the inflation. So real interest rate gives you a real picture. So now we are going to deal with the inflation index bonds. So we know what is inflation, we know what is index, this is listing, and we know why they issue bonds to raise the money. Moving on to the details of inflation index bonds. We know that inflation has been added to the bonds. So the definition is it is a bond. So the definition it is a bond. So there should be a issuer. So the issuer is release the bond to raise money. Investor, it provides investor a constant return irrespective of the level of inflation in the economy. Irrespective of the inflation, this is important again. And the objective of inflation index bonds is to provide a hedge, which means hedging is generally done to avoid the risk. That is what we understood in the derivatives. So avoid the risk. Let me brief you with an example. You invested the principal of 1,000 rupees, and the interest they assured you is 10% over the 1,000 principal investment, and the inflation is also raising on 10%. So what is your return on investment? Your return on investment is, in this case, is if 1,000 added to the inflation, 10% of 1,000 is 100. So it is somewhere around 1,100. So out of 1,100 is now your principal, and based upon this principal, now they will give you interest rate. It is good for the investors because inflation has been added. If inflation is raising in parallel, in tandem with the interest, your purchasing power capacity will be reduced. So inflation has to be added to the principal, then you will get a much more return on your investment. So this is important. This is a benefit to the investors. So that is about the inflation index bonds. Moving on to the other instrument is sovereign gold bonds. Generally, Indians have an habit of saving more money in the form of gold. We are more happy in demonstrating with gold. You can see that demonstration in this picture. So, by understanding the behavior patterns of the public, the economist has recommended the government to come up with a different security that should be very much similar to the gold. So that is called sovereign gold bond, and it is denoted in grams, and after the maturity one get the equivalent prevailing gold prices in the market. So these are the important points. So sovereign gold bond is denoted in grams. It is similar to maintaining in the format of gold, and after the maturity one get the amount of equivalent gold prices. So why has government has come up with this type of an instrument? Because gold is traded and it has an interdependence with the other countries as well. In order to reduce the fluctuation between the commodities, government has come up with an instrument where they can completely control the bonds. So this is about the sovereign gold bond. And moving on to the other important bond, which is important for UPSC as well as placed in our current affair as well. So that is masala bonds. Masala is a flavor of Indian. So there should be some flavor of Indian, that is, it is rupee denominated bond. So the bond is denominated in rupee. Why do I emphasize on rupee denominated bonds? All the bonds are denominated in rupees, but these bonds are issued by the domestic investors in order to raise money from the foreign markets. So generally they have to convert the bonds into their currency, but now we are going to raise the money in the form of rupees in the foreign market. So if HDFC, they wanted to issue gold bond, and these are the first one to issue gold bonds, and they issued and they placed in the New York Stock Exchange and the London Stock Exchange, and they raised money. So it is issued in rupee to raise funds in the international market, and International Financial Corporation issued masala bonds for the first time, and this is where UPSC is interested in asking questions. So let us try to understand what is this institutions as well. So International Financial Corporation, it's a corporation which is associated with World Bank Group. There are different institutions which are associated with the World Bank Group. So let us try to understand that. What is this primary objective is to encourage the growth of private sector in developing countries. To encourage the private sector in the developing countries, because developing countries were affected by the policies or by the surplus infusion of money from the developed countries. It's as simple as factors of productions are generally higher in developing countries than the developed countries. In order to give a brotherhood hand, these institutions will come into the picture. So they give you a new market and they mobilize other investors. They mobilize investors to invest, and that goal is to end extreme poverty and boost a shared prosperity. These are the social objectives. Obviously, economic objectives are associated with the social objectives. So this is the financial institutions. Moving on to the corporate bond market in India. Corporate bond issued by the corporates. The impetus or the emphasis of corporate bond can be seen in 2019 budget. In the 2019 budget, Financial Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has clearly emphasized of encouraging the corporate bond market. So what are the corporate market trends and what is the history? Generally, if you accumulate all factors, it is a narrow market. Narrow market because association is less and trustability is less. Only few players are involved, as well as foreign portfolio investors are prominent buyers. This has been happening because of the emphasis from the government. So they are encouraging to grab the investment from the foreign markets. So we are integrated in the arena of globalization. So these are some of the details of the capital market and secondary market. So we summarize it. In developing or underdeveloped countries, capital is scarce. The absence of capital will hindrance the economic growth of a country. So it is important for a country like India to become an organized capital market, to encourage and associate different people in this market. So this will eventually help an economy to grow. And I will post you a question with reference to International Financial Corporation, Mashallah bond sometimes given in the correct. International Financial Corporation with offers these bonds in an arm of the World Bank, and they are rupee denominated bonds, a source of debt financing for the public and private sector. So this is the details of the Mashallah bonds. I recommend everyone to type your answers in the comment section. For more contentful videos and simplifying your preparation, we come up with the different stories and simplify your preparation. In order to provide this, we recommend you to subscribe to our channel. Thank you.